Good day, viewers. Welcome to another edition of the Daily Strange Stories. I'm John Brown. Our lead story for today: how Floyd Shivambu caused MK party downfall and why Zuma demoted him after visiting Prophet Bushiri. In the intricate world of South African politics, alliances can shift and fortunes can change in the blink of an eye. This is the story of Floyd Shivambu, a prominent figure whose journey from the Economic Freedom Fighters (EFF) to a high-ranking position in the Umkhonto weSizwe (MK) party and subsequent downfall is a stark reminder of the volatile nature of political power. The narrative unfolds against a backdrop of controversial religious figures, internal party conflicts, and the ever-present influence of former President Jacob Zuma. The seeds of Shivambu's undoing were sown during the Easter weekend of 2025, when he made a visit to Prophet Shepherd Bushiri, a Malawian pastor who was at the time a fugitive from South African justice. Bushiri, a charismatic preacher, had built a large following in South Africa, but he was also facing serious charges of fraud and money laundering. His escape to Malawi had become a major embarrassment for the South African government and a sensitive issue for many. Shivambu's decision to visit Bushiri was immediately met with criticism. Justice Minister Mmamaloko Kubayi publicly condemned the visit, calling it a blatant act of disrespect towards South Africa's legal system. She argued that it would only encourage those who thought they could evade accountability. The MK party itself distanced itself from Shivambu's actions, claiming that he had undertaken the visit in his personal capacity, without the party's knowledge or approval. At this point, Shivambu could have chosen to defuse the situation. An apology, or even a simple acknowledgement of the controversy, might have been enough to quell the rising discontent. However, he chose a different path. In a television interview, Shivambu boldly asserted that his visit to Bushiri had been sanctioned by none other than Jacob Zuma, the leader of the MK party. This claim was quickly refuted by the party spokesperson, Nhlamulo Ndhlela, who stated that the party stood by its initial criticism of the visit.
Your party issued a statement dissociating you from that. What informed you to go and see someone who's wanted, who's a fugitive?
In March the 21st, we visited Namibia with President Zuma. So when we were in Namibia, in the table that we were sitting in after the official inauguration, we were sitting with former President Joyce Banda of Malawi. Yeah. And we're also sitting with the incumbent Deputy President Michael Usi of Malawi as well. And then we had, because we were in a table, small talk, exchange contacts. And President Zuma said that we must make follow-up on the discussions that were being raised there. So I went to Malawi to see former President Joyce Banda, and I spent a lot of time with her. And then I went to see incumbent Deputy President Michael Usi. We had very meaningful discussions. And both are a proper leadership which can change the politics of Malawi if they were to be given whatever responsibility they can be given in the future. But also here in South Africa, we had been in discussions with one of my former colleagues in the Pan-African Parliament called Enoch Chihana, who is one of the presidential candidates there. So we want to have a political discussion whose outcomes we will communicate once we're mandated to communicate in terms of what were the discussions. And after that, I went to see Prophet Shepherd Bushiri and to have broad discussions. I know him, like we used to have interactions when he was here in South Africa. And then he said that I'm going to a church service later on. Let's go. Where am I to refuse to go into church? Like I've been to so many churches. I've been to the Nazareth Baptist Church. I've been to so many churches in South Africa. And what I was even interested about is that during my visit there in the Easter period, there were more than 5,000 South Africans were in Malawi to go to the church specifically, not for a political program that I was there for. More than 5,000 South Africans that were there to visit the church. I'm not a law enforcement agency. And as far as I'm concerned, there are no issues. There is no directive in Malawi. The Church of Shepherd Bushiri is protected by the Malawian state. His households are protected by the Malawian state. in terms of what happens. He plays a huge role in terms of development of Malawi, in proper investments that are happening there.
Instead of backing down, Shivambu doubled down. In another interview, he declared that he would never apologize for visiting Prophet Shepherd Bushiri.
And one thing which I never apologized on and I will never apologize on is when I went to see Prophet Shepherd Bushiri and then he said, let's go to church. I said, I will go to church. I'm like those who say that I am glad when they say unto you, let us go into the house of the Lord. I'm compliant.
Despite the concerns of him evading arrest and what that means for the MK party and what it stands for and constitutionalism and upholding the rule of law.
I honestly
I mean, those were genuine. You can admit those were genuine concerns, right?
No, I think they were misplaced actually. Like I think there was just unnecessary misplaced exuberance around it because I'm not responsible for law enforcement in South Africa, one, but two, as a matter of fact, there is no court ruling in Malawi within the criminal justice system that links both countries that has instructed that he must be deported to South Africa. If there was such, he would be hiding in Malawi, then that would have made him a fugitive. But currently there is no such.
He also expressed his conviction that joining the MK party was the best political decision he had ever made. These defiant statements, made in the face of mounting criticism, would ultimately seal his fate. To fully understand the significance of these events, it's important to rewind a few months and examine Shivambu's entry into the MK party. In August 2024, Shivambu made the surprising move from the EFF, where he had served as deputy president, to the MK party. Zuma, who had known Shivambu since his days in the ANC Youth League, welcomed him with open arms. Zuma praised Shivambu as a real politician with scientific politics, an honest politician who made decisions at the right time and for the right reasons. However, Shivambu's arrival in the MK party was not without its detractors. Some senior party members questioned his rapid ascent to positions of power. Within weeks, he was appointed as national organizer and then secretary general. These individuals pointed out that just months earlier, Shivambu had been actively campaigning against the MK party during the May 2024 elections. The concerns about Shivambu's leadership were further fueled by the MK party's performance in a municipal by-election in Ward 33 in eThekwini. Shivambu led the party's campaign in this election, which should have been an easy win, considering the DA's struggles and the ANC's decline in the area. However, the MK party's vote share dropped significantly, raising questions about Shivambu's effectiveness as a national organizer. Despite these setbacks, Shivambu was appointed as Secretary General in November 2024 as the MK party prepared to celebrate its first anniversary. During this period, allegations surfaced that Shivambu was attempting to centralize financial control of the party, seeking sole authority over its funds. This move further alienated him from some of his colleagues. The MK party's first anniversary celebrations in Durban were marred by logistical problems. Despite having secured a large number of votes in the May elections, the party struggled to fill the Moses Mabhida Stadium. Traditional leaders boycotted the event after being denied entry, and hundreds of supporters were unable to attend due to a lack of transportation. Shivambu apologized for these issues, but the damage had been done. Internal tensions continued to simmer. In February 2025, Duduzile Zuma, Jacob Zuma's daughter, launched a tirade against Shivambu on social media, calling him the worst thing that happened to MK and useless. She even referred to him as Mafigizolo, a derogatory term for a newcomer. While Duduzile Zuma was later instructed to apologize, her outburst reflected the growing discontent within the party. In March 2025, Mxolisi Mthethwa, the MK party's Zululand coordinator, publicly criticized Shivambu's leadership, citing poor decision-making, lack of consultation, and abuse of power. Mthethwa and others accused Shivambu of appointing his own people to key positions within the party. In the same month, Shivambu faced criticism for imposing strict controls over access to Jacob Zuma. He issued a directive stating that all MK party representatives were forbidden from seeking direct meetings with Zuma without first consulting with party officials. Shivambu defended this decision, arguing that it was necessary to ensure that issues were properly vetted before being brought to the president's attention. The culmination of these events led to Shivambu's demotion from Secretary General on the 3rd of June 2025. Nkosinathi Nhleko, the party's national chairperson, explained that Shivambu's visit to Bushiri was the final straw. He stated that the visit was not officially sanctioned by the party or Zuma, and therefore violated the party's constitution. Nhleko emphasized the seriousness of the matter, stating that it had implications for the party's image, values, and principles. He announced that Zuma and the national officials had been left with no other option but to act swiftly. As a result, Shivambu was redeployed to Parliament as an ordinary member, where the party is led by Chief Whip Colleen Makhubele and Party Deputy President John Hlophe. At the same media briefing, Shivambu apologized and accepted his demotion. He affirmed his commitment to the MK party and stated that he fully accepted the decision of the national officials. Zuma, who has the authority to appoint and dismiss leaders at will, is now tasked with finding the MK party's 5th Secretary General in less than 18 months. Zuma addressed the situation, stating that it was important to clarify the party's relationship with Bushiri. He said that the decision to demote Shivambu was made out of respect for the people the party represented. In the aftermath of Shivambu's demotion, Julius Malema, the leader of the EFF, weighed in on the situation. Malema downplayed the significance of Shivambu's new role in Parliament, suggesting that the EFF's influence would not be diminished. He stated that he did not work with Shivambu and that Shivambu would not be able to undermine the EFF's superior logic.
In Parliament, we are working in Parliament, and that's it. If he comes to Parliament, he will find us rolling. The Parliament now is run by young boys. Young people are running that thing. And if he comes then thinks he can impose himself on them, they are already ready for him. So you can be rest assured he will not do anything that can undermine the superior logic of the EFF in that parliament.
Malema also addressed the issue of black political unity, responding to criticism that the EFF had not shown a willingness to unite with other black-led parties. He argued that the EFF had always advocated for black unity, but that forming a new party and then calling for unity was disingenuous. Malema also commented on the developments involving Imogen Mashazi, the Ekurhuleni city manager, whose contract was set to expire in August. He clarified that the request for Mashazi to go on special leave was expected and not controversial, comparing it to similar practices followed by high-ranking public officials nearing retirement. Thank you for watching this news video. We'd love to hear what you think about this story, so please leave your comments below. We read them all and appreciate your insights. Join us again in our next strange story. Until then, goodbye.